Okay, so this is the final edition of the ABCs of the coming new, big, massive, phenomenal, huge, incredible new bull market. And in previous episodes, I covered A, which was artificial intelligence, which is going to be huge because, hey, in the last bull cycle, we had big data become a big deal, cloud computing become a big deal. And to some extent, we saw a little bit of some of these artificial intelligence stocks really get their first bump, but these are like tiny little babies still. All right. So we covered that in episode 1 of the ABCs. Episode 2, we did B, which was biotech, which I told you 3 generals of biotech, which are driven by 3 amazing technologies, which are CRISPR, mRNA, and then molecular diagnostics testing. In other words, today we're doing a lot of tests, but even more are coming to make sure that your diagnosis is right. So when you get your diagnosis right, the medication is right. And today I'm going to cover the last one, which is C, which is crypto. And if you follow me, whether on Twitter or on YouTube, I actually have a bit of a twisted history with respect to crypto. So, hey, I want to just fully confess, ask forgiveness. Hey, I was skeptical at first. And I actually took my friend, my colleague, Ian Dyer, to see what he was doing to really understand. It's like, hey, this ain't going away. Like the folks who believe in this, are coding this, investing in it, and they are true believers. They are going to make this happen. And so I went from being a bear and calling Bitcoin, did I call it a scam? Ooh, sorry. Maybe I did. I don't think I did. I think I said it was a bubble. So, hey, truthfully, hey, at least the timing was right. I was within like a couple of weeks of the 20,000, Bitcoin high in 2017. And then, hey, I got religion. I changed my mind. I know. So it's like, well, Paul, you flip-flop. You're a flim-flam artist. You're not consistent. Hey, I plead guilty that when I see new facts and I understand new things, I will change my mind. So then I turned and I changed myself and I said, hey, buy Bitcoin. And we got pretty close near the bottom, somewhere near 3,500, somewhere in the 4,000. I said, hey, Bitcoin's at a low, buy in. And since then, I've been all in. I am all in on crypto. And my initial premise was really that, hey, it was really as simple as this, which is that everything in the world is going digital. And it makes complete sense, especially when I went and researched it. And I went and read about this in some of the books that I have here. Money always follows the technology that dominates its period. So, we eventually got to machinery making money, the printing press. That's when paper money became the most popular. In the early industrial age, when we first figure out mining machinery, that was the gold standard and things like that. And today, what do we have? Well, we have the digital standards. We have chips and we have computers, and now we have digital code. And of course, money is going to go that way. It's so clear, and the reasons for it, you can now begin to see. Heck, I was sending some money just the other day to my mother, who's all the way in India. And so, of course, I went to the app and then I had to connect my bank account to it. That took 24 hours because, hey, there's so much fraud that they're like, okay, we wait 24 hours to make sure this is okay. There's some test transactions that have to be done. Then you're okayed. Then you put the money in, and they got to make sure that the money is there by sort of like testing your account. There were some problems there because banks don't like these apps going in there and filling the stuff out. Then finally they took the money, then they kept it for 2 or 3 days, and then they finally sent it on its way. And then it was finally received. It took something like 3-4 days for the whole thing. And then quite recently, I just transferred a little bit of Bitcoin from one of my mining accounts to one of my wallets, and it happened like this. I mean, it was a few minutes. I mean, it was a couple of minutes, which was truthfully a little bit long. It can happen anywhere from 20 seconds to a few minutes. I know there's been some people say, well, Paul, it took me 30 minutes. Well, that happens from time to time, but still 30 minutes versus 4 days, plus like all the hassle and all the junk that goes along, which is like, putting in your account and this and here, just 2 wallets. Hey, the money's here. The money's going here. Is this true? Is this transaction true? Is this holding actually real? All verified on the blockchain. And then boom, 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 boom. So there's a revolution coming, folks. It's just going to be laughable that all these people today are giving up on crypto, giving up on blockchain, giving up on Bitcoin, giving up on everything and saying it's a fad. These folks are wrong. These folks are 100% wrong, 1,000% wrong, 10,000% wrong. And yes, I know that Warren Buffett is one of them, but hey, listen, the world moves forward. I mean, think of like, is there anything, that you can think back 10 years ago that like was better 10 years ago than today? And the truth is that if you're being fair, the truth is almost nothing. Because you know why? Because it is in human nature to try to improve things and to use better technology, better innovation to try to make things better. And money, is the way of making it better is crypto. So 3 ways that really you can get access to the crypto revolution, which is about what in the end? Well, it's about, number one, speed. I told you 4 days versus 4 minutes or 4 seconds. In other words, money moving very, very rapidly all around the world to whoever you want with some amount of freedom. There's the cost. I mean, hey, to send the amount of money that I wanted to send to my mother, well, they took like $15 for it. You know how much my transaction in Bitcoin cost? Like 11 cents. I mean, these live in different planets. And the third one is really, in many ways, the most important one, which is access. While lots of folks watching this may find it unthinkable that there are people today that lack bank accounts, that use payday lenders to cash their paychecks, this is quite prevalent, folks. However, go and grab a phone and use Cash App or use Venmo or any of these apps. I mean, like essentially it works in a way like a bank account. And these folks, well, these apps, they're going to wipe out the banks. I mean, the banks cannot compete. Banks cannot compete because A, they're slow, they're expensive, and they're inaccessible. Because, if you want to go to open up a bank account, they're like, oh, can we see this? Can we see that? And it's intimidating. I mean, you got to walk into this thing and sort of put yourself up there for judgment for these people. And a lot of people don't want to do that. On the other hand, well, this makes no judgments. You go in there and anybody can get a Cash App account. You can connect your paycheck so it goes directly in there. You can buy Bitcoin. You can buy stocks. You can do whatever you want. So these 3 things make it something where the difference between what it is today, which is the static bank account, versus this very dynamic, very easy to use, cheap, convenient, fast way of using money, is going to win. And it's going to win in a big way, meaning that, the banks ain't going to have anything left. And like most revolutions is going to be like this, like, then this is where we are, like where we're like, in this like section, and then it's going to be like a hockey stick up, slowly, suddenly. And so how can you take advantage of this? I mean, what are the stocks that, be in? Well, I have told folks about Coinbase, and that is for now, very much a concentrated bet really on crypto. I mean, which is a mix of a lot of different things. I mean, crypto is obviously, folks saving money through Bitcoin. making a bet on the financial system that Ethereum is going to become the currency of really the guts of finance. A lot of folks don't know about this stuff, but there's almost like an entire plumbing, if you will, a network of pipes and storage and pumps and all the stuff that's there that moves money around. And Ethereum is setting up to take share in that and replace that. And then there's ownership of companies and organizations, ownership in general, which is also moving to crypto. So Coinbase is a bet that the entire financial system, well, it's moving to crypto. The Coinbase trades the largest cryptocurrencies, and they're a mix in the way I look at it, like a mix of sort of like the New York Stock Exchange, which has, some of the largest companies in the US, especially historically. New York Stock Exchange used to be much bigger than the NASDAQ stock market. So it's a mixture of New York Stock Exchange, the biggest bank, let's say JP Morgan, and also like an asset management company like BlackRock. So, it's really a mix of all of these things together is what you get when you are buying into Coinbase, because pretty much all of those things, whether it be banking, investment banking, asset management, it's all going to eventually go into crypto. And Coinbase is the one that's positioned to benefit the most from it in a pure crypto kind of way. The other way that I would bet on this revolution is through Robinhood. Now, this is a stock that's been completely crushed, and maybe people will be like, Paul, Robinhood? Most people trade stocks through it. Yeah, but the fastest growing business for Robinhood is really crypto. And they are going to sort of like open up the investment options for crypto to lots and lots of people that today, are a little bit left out. Maybe they don't feel comfortable with Coinbase, but Robinhood, with its very easy to use interface, its zero balance, where you don't need any minimum to open up. The fact that they have sort of like created baby steps where you learned how to trade and buy and sell in the stock market and even options market. Now you can go and start a Robinhood account. That ease of access, that cheapness, that convenience. Yeah, Robinhood is going to be one of the biggest sort of beneficiaries of the crypto movement. So that's number two. The third one is a bet on Bitcoin itself. Because there is no other cryptocurrency that has greater mind share, greater market share globally. Like you go around the world and the vast majority of people have heard of Bitcoin. A few people have heard of Ethereum, but almost everybody knows Bitcoin. And increasingly, especially now with like a lot of turmoil happening, if you go and Google Sri Lanka, you'll see, this is a country that's bankrupt, that's run out of money. And one of the reasons for it is because of what is going on in this country, because interest rates have gone up. Well, they ran out of money here. I don't think countries like Sri Lanka and others want like that kind of effect. Now, people say, well, Paul, Bitcoin's crazy volatile and, how can that be better? Well, on the one hand, at the very least, the demand and supply movements are all programmed and algorithmic. They're not dependent on the whims of some group of people that have none of your interest in heart. At least in advance with Bitcoin, there's a halvening, happens every 4 years. The supply goes down by this much, and you can at least count on that. And despite all its volatility, Bitcoin, well, it's still liquid. You can sell hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars, and there's people willing to buy, willing to sell. And the cheapest way to buy Bitcoin today is to take a little bit of risk. All right, I just want to be straight up and say, hey, I'm talking at risk. This channel, opinion, not advice. So you make money, you lose money on you. Yeah. So the cheapest way to buy Bitcoin is actually through the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. So, this is a publicly traded stock that owns a lot of Bitcoin and is trading at something like a 30% discount to the value of Bitcoin. So why is that? Well, because it's a publicly traded stock, it depends on demand and supply. It depends on, what somebody's willing to buy and sell. Why are people willing to buy and sell GBTC, Grayscale Bitcoin Trust? GBTC is a ticker symbol for 30% below what, its liquidation price, because there's no way to actually, adjust for it, or arbitrage is the fancy word, meaning like where, hey, it's worth 30% less, where you can sort of go and collect, the Bitcoin and then hand in your GBTC and you make 30% automatically. That is not possible. But GBTC is applying to be an ETF. And once that is approved, or I should say, if that's approved, and I think it's a good bet at some point in time, 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, not sure. Well, that discount is going to sort of collapse or be bridged. And now you'll be owning Bitcoin at whatever it is today, let's say 20,000 minus the 30% discount. So, 30% of 20,000, let's see, calculation, 10% of 20,000 is 2,000, so 36,000. That's like buying Bitcoin at $14,000, even though it's 20,000. You do take the risk, though, that maybe it doesn't happen. But hey, that's the reality of money and finance. You take a risk. If you're right, well, then you get a reward. And that is in the nature of all kinds of investing. So this is the final chapter of the A, the B, and the C of the coming mega bull market for our stocks. That is very close, very, very, very close. Where we see the end of the bear market line. We see the beginning of the new bull market line. A few things more need to just settle out and make clear that the buyers are back. And once they're back, now you will start to see a race to come in and buy into these ABCs. So that's it. Final episode of the ABC series. If you enjoyed it, hey, give us a thumbs up. Subscribe, hit the bell so you get a notification. Come back. It's Paul saying bye.